like Google's gonna change the SERPs. It's changing. It's gonna change drastically. It's only gonna change quicker and quicker.
So yeah,
It's
I
but
guess
it's
we could really talk about. I would even want to get your opinions on just like your the direction that they're going to go. But okay, so we are now live. Uh,
we
I guess
live.
so that yeah, so everybody's now notified. So okay, let's see. All right, welcome everybody to episode 190 of the SEO Vault, and we are joined today just by myself and Mike. We've been really busy this past week, so it's just us two here giving you the news updates for this time. But check us out across our different podcasting platforms. Remember to hit subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss anything that we go through here. And then remember that we are also that's for the YouTube channel. So we will actually be uploading the videos to YouTube also if you end up wanting to watch the replay. But the previous episodes are also on the SEO Vault website too. So leave a like for us. It helps us out a bunch, and also share across any of your groups if you feel like we are delivering value that they could get something from. So in
Rian
this
says,
episode,
"Hey y'all,
so
hey
in this ep-
Rian."
I was gonna say we don't have too many brand updates for this one. We've been pretty hard at work just getting all the updates done across Web 20 Ranker. Of course, we have a bunch of great new products that we're gonna, or not maybe not products, but updates to the products that we're gonna unveil. And also, you're gonna start to see some new guests come on to the SEO Vault. So it's gonna be really exciting. Definitely be on the lookout there from the Web 20 Ranker Facebook page to see what we've got coming up. So if you have, no, yeah, I went through all of this. So let's just go ahead and get into the news. Unless you wanted to say something before we did that, Mike.
No, I'm just looking to see if there's any comments. Are you on? We're not on YouTube. You said right? We're
We're
gonna
not
upload.
on YouTube right now. We do upload it to there, but we still need to get some accounts connected and
Oh, you
everything to
never.
be.
Okay, yeah, you never got in there. I didn't know if we were able to get in there or not. So
Yeah, so hopefully for
very
next week
cool.
we'll get the simultaneous streaming going, but for now we're just on Facebook.
Well, we
And
are live, so yeah, shoot us a comment, give us a like, let us know if you have any questions. We're ask us anything. It's not the AMA vault, but feel free to ask us anything, I guess.
right, we have Rihan here. I hope I'm saying your name right. Already asking some great questions. So, do we have a template of the audits that we do? So, we actually have even videos and courses that go through different audits. So, it really actually depends on what you're trying to audit. Is it just a typical GBP type of situation? Let us know in the chat there, and we could try to send you a link.
Yeah, I'm looking at the site. I know we have quite a few blog posts. We obviously do an audit with all of our GBP campaigns, all of our managed search campaigns. So we have the local audit, the technical audit.
Let me do. You know
Um,
what I should link? I think we could link the because I we have on the local client takeover. We have the GMB SEO specialist, which is really where it goes really deep through a lot of this stuff. But
yeah, I don't think there's a technical audit in there though.
okay,
Um,
where can you pull? Where can we pull out a nice audit for that?
Audit chest. So there's location page audit, backlink audit, 30-point technical. I'm just looking at our blog. So here is the post we have about the location page. Uh, do-
And then I'll throw this link in there myself. So I'll throw in there the backlink audit step by step.
Is that the
Uh,
backlink audit cleanup step-by-step one?
yeah.
Okay, so then here's the 30-point
Yeah,
technical audit one that we have as well.
tons and tons of stuff. So another thing, yeah, definitely head over to the Web 20 Ranker website and check out anything else that we might have. Because honestly, there's tons of different audits that you could do. Content competitor gap. I mean, that's a good one that Ahrefs can do. But check out that cleanup one if you're looking at different broken links that you might have there. But yeah, They were asking where Bucky is.
Bucky went to pursue other ventures. So yeah, he's working with a not a reseller agency, but a local agency now, doing more of that front end client work, like many of our good, very friendly, awesome customers we have are. If you don't know, Web20 is a reseller agency, so we work with a lot of agencies. But yeah, so Bucky's off pursuing his dreams in other areas. But we might have him back sometime. We'll see. I know we got like Victor said before, just a lot of changes going on right now. So we're gonna, start having Mark on sometime. Sophie's, kind of on here or there. I might not even be here a few weeks. We are looking to get a lot more speakers on, I think a little more regularly. We are working to reach out to some of the more prominent people in the industry. So obviously, if there is anyone you'd like to see on the vault, let us know. I think we still do have our sign up form for people that do want to, kind of submit a request to get on here. We recently had, I think, before the last one that Mark was on, we were going to have a guest, but then Mark came on, so that didn't happen. But before that, we had a repeat guest. So we've even had some people come on twice at this point. But let us know if you'd be interested, or if there's anyone specific you'd like us to go and track down and pull on, see what we can get out of their, wisdom.
Yeah, here we actually have a question here from Brian about Eat. So I guess the latest thing is the double Eat, making sure that you're properly optimizing your content for that. Just because it's a new thing that Google's been talking about. So I know from we actually have a news article that's kind of getting into that a little bit with the quality of content, but I would say with so establish it for both client sites and lead gen sites. So what are your thoughts on it initially, Mike? Because I would say there's different ways to kind of gauge for quality, but it's also coming down to, I would say, more so the user intent and trying to understand like what they want to see versus going on the side of just trying to deliver like tons and tons of value. So maybe some people might be on the side of like making a huge page because more content gives them more opportunity to serve more value. But if you go overboard and now you have a huge page, I think you end up missing the mark there. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I've never really had to read too much into EAT as a concept, because my fundamental understanding of SEO has always been delivering the information that fulfills the intent that the person was searching for. And that's what Google wants to do, or at least my understanding of what Google wants to do. And they want to do that with the most direct, authoritative, true information that they can, right? The best resource for it. So with that in mind, when you look at a keyword, like someone even searching like roofing city, they could be looking for roofing materials, they could be looking for roofing company, they could be looking to start a roofing company. There's a million different things with just those 2 and 3 keyword strings that a person could be looking for. You could make a 100-page website just targeting sub long tail terms of roofing and roofing in location, like whether it's a school or a class or literally the different types. So the point is, though, is you could put all that information on a page, but when you just look at it simply as when someone types in roofing city, we understand that they're most likely looking for a roofing company. And so with that in mind, they're going to be looking for reviews, they're going to be looking for general cost, they're going to be looking for the process that the company follows. They're going
So
to
a
be looking for
commercial on the
contact.
commercial side, making a commercial query definitely much different than what you would with the signals you'd want to actually look at to be able to tell the authoritativeness of something like an e-commerce blog or something just talking about a very low competition non-commercial keyword.
Yeah, but I think that the key word, so eat is only relevant when it comes to a specific keyword. So like every piece of content you could argue like there's a use for it maybe, but like if you apply eat to a page, that doesn't necessarily mean that those it has those qualities for every single keyword, right? It's a specific keyword. So at that point it comes down to the intent behind the keyword. So whether it's a local term or it's like roofing materials, like I said, which is the general what are the different types of roofing materials, people would still be, again, you'd be the various types, the cost, where to get them, all those different things.
Something that I would add to the, if you're in like the your money, your life type of niches, maybe you're having to do a little bit more research for the pieces. If you're looking at anything like that, I would say something that creates a very big divide from the amount of pages that I've looked at, just from what other people put up. If you're trying to put out some very serious information, like let's say it's like medical info, or maybe not even that serious, but you're starting to talk about like the law or something that really affects somebody's life like that. If you're, let's say you're just kind of spouting out a bunch of things, a bunch of facts, but it's like, who are you really to talk about those things without referencing something, where you got the information from? So I say that
And that's
because
yeah,
I
that's an
see a,
intent, right?
so I see a lot of people, they'll put these really amazing, articles and they did all this research, but then they don't do any sort of outbound link to any sort of good source, or they just kind of, do the whole outbound link to Wikipedia type of thing and just kind of call it a day. So I think putting effort into, okay, if you're really reading through this article that I put out and you really need to have more reassurance or more backing as to what you're reading, where are you going to take that reader? Because all of a sudden, like that creates a very big difference in the user experience if you're actually giving them a place to follow through to, or if you're just putting some random like Wikipedia link on there.
Yeah, and I still think that's so if someone searches for medical advice, their intent is going to be what's the answer, but then why is that answer correct? What's the reasoning? What's the proof? They're not just going to believe something they read online. So again, if you just understand what people are looking for, what is the information they need to see to actually fulfill the intent, that like it's if you don't show your math, right, that's then they don't you don't understand how you got to that conclusion. So it's the same thing in search. It's your article, whatever that is, has to have all those things to not just show them the answer but give them the big picture. And it's, again, that's why I said, just that's my fundamental understanding of SEO probably since 2014, 13, when I stopped just putting keywords in H1s and stuff and started actually like trying to write things that mattered. And but it's obviously way more complex and important now. So really ask yourself, if you were looking for these things, what would you want to know? And to be honest, ChatGPT is tremendously helpful when looking for intent or like trying to because I mean it's
Or
it's the
delegating the work to
language
somebody
model.
else.
Yeah, I mean we've literally learned from us our language, and so like it can definitely, well, GPT 4 3.5 honestly is not good for this, but 4 can connect those dots. Where if you say, if someone searches for this term, what are some things that they would be most likely looking for or
Oh, and we were
information
just
about?
looking at that just yesterday, I think, where GPT-4 all of a sudden has a way deeper understanding of intent.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, try to make use of that, especially if you're working in niches that maybe you're not familiar with, because a lot of it just it comes from like being a true authority in the niche, which is a little tough to do if you're not well versed in it. But okay, so moving on here, and is there an auto hide thing in the chat? I was not sure if.
No, there's some, you mean like comments that are hidden or
Okay,
something?
yeah, yeah.
No, that shit just happens. That's Zuckerberg or some crap. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, okay, okay. I was making sure. So, okay, so Rihan had said really quick about Brad. What do we think about Brad? Whoa, I want to hear what Mike has to think, but I would say I'm just not that impressed. I'm not that impressed. And also, there's all these different models coming out. Like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Mike?
The only thing that's going to be impressive about Brad is the massive toolkit that Google already has built, and integrating that AI into that tool set will be useful. But as the actual language model that it is, it sucks compared to Chat GPT. And Microsoft will definitely have an edge there from when I could tell. And GPT, the biggest difference too between Bard and GPT is Bard is very locked down on what its use case is intended for. It's meant to be an AI assistant. It's not meant to operate as an AI that can, like, you can't just go to Bard, and you could probably do this with the API and other things, but like I can go to Chat GPT and be like, your name is Susan, and you refer to yourself as Susan now, and it'll then now that chat is Susan, and I can talk with Susan, and I could say, Susan, you're an expert in accounting, and you're the CPA for my company, and I want advice based on certain things I ask, and if I ask for something outside of accounting, you don't know anything about it. And it'll say okay, and then it'll be like, I don't can't answer that if I ask about like law or something. But Bard, no, it's Bard. It'll do what it does.
Very
And
simple, very locked down.
yeah, exactly. So it'll have cool uses as Google integrates it and all their tools and stuff. But it as an AI itself, people are going to be building on top of OpenAI for sure.
Okay. Next question here, Ben Schmitz. What's the best way to get backlinks in high authority articles such as HubSpot blogs? Okay, so HubSpot definitely has some pretty high ranking blog articles out there. So, I mean, my general suggestion is, I mean, looking at, I guess public relations or using press release services to try to get messages out there. So, and this really, there's so much to talk about with this, but whatever you can do to basically get your brand, so whether it's your brand or it's your client's brand, whatever you can do to take them and make them, how do I explain it? Because if you're a business that you're trying to get mentioned online, or you're expecting somebody that you reach out to actually be able to, or actually even want to speak to you about this, you kind of have to bring in some type of value to them first. So if you can come up with any type of idea for that brand to maybe do a study, maybe do some type of research, whatever it might be for that niche, so that they can come up with something new to add to the conversation, right? So I think that's the key piece there. Doing anything you could do to help that brand be able to talk about their niche, but in a way that's adding to the conversation. Now, whatever idea that is, try to run with it, try to make a story out of it. And at that point, you can start reaching out to places that are relevant. So, if that HubSpot blog or whatever article it is, if they actually work in the same industry as your client, all of a sudden there's like some sort of a reason for that reporter to actually want to connect with you and actually collaborate, which at that point is where you end up getting to do either some type of a guest blog post type of situation, or they just credit you in there via a link just because you went and provided them info so that they could do a nice article that so that they can, they can rank that and get traffic from that. That's my general suggestion. And I know at Web20 Ranker, we do have the targeted media outreach service. So that's probably going to be your best bet as far as doing a press release, but also having a process in place where you're emailing this press release to journalists within that industry. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out Web20 Ranker's site and look out for that targeted media outreach. It's under the press release section on the menu. All right. We've gone through a bunch of stuff here. We have marketing SEO articles. They have a bunch of articles. Yeah, and if you're trying to get on like SEO articles, it's really tough because all of a sudden you got to come up with something new, right? Or maybe you just start running tests and you discover something insightful. All of a sudden, that's a great way to get in front of people. But any feedback from you, Mike, on that one?
Um, I buy my links from Web 20 Ranker.
So targeted media outreach, it sounds like.
Whatever, yeah, you need a guest post, you need authoritative sites, need to get on Yahoo Finance,
You do have to
whatever.
look good. Your brand has to look good, right? You want to have real pictures. You can have a
Yeah. So I
lead
mean,
gen
yeah,
thing.
definitely you need to have a good website. You can't just have a crappy looking, spammy looking website. But with all that said, generally, yeah, I work with people that'll help me acquire links, and it's essentially it's work. That's why there's a whole industry of link builders and people who all they do is acquire links and build lists, and some people just have these copy and paste like guest post lists that everyone in the industry uses, but then there's the people like we have an actual team that reaches out, finds these opportunities. You can't just go sometimes to their website and just like apply to supply content and
Yeah,
things like
not
that.
every place is going to be so easy as running a little search through Google and trying to find all
Yeah.
the good spots. But yeah,
So
makes sense there.
it's work. I generally pay other people to do that work, but I have done a lot of it throughout my time in the industry. But your best bet is to find people who can do that if you are trying to scale. If you just have like your company or whatever, then yeah, maybe do that. Have someone in house who's an expert. Try to
Yeah,
write blogs and content and
because
yeah.
you can only do so many of these little projects where you're doing research and all this custom stuff. Like if you've got so many clients, there's only so much you could do with that. So
Yeah. That's why
uh,
it becomes its own separate business model at that point for a lot of people. When you're doing 2,000 links a month, like it's crazy.
yeah.
So,
So all right. And okay, so we went through a bunch of questions. Thank you guys for chiming into the chat. We definitely love you guys, your feedback and everything. So let's move on to the news section now. So we've got a few articles picked out, lots of advancements from Google here with AI. So let's take a look at the first one. This one was talking about video. So Google video structured data no longer requires descriptions. Google has updated the video structured data to say that the description property is no longer a required field. So, so now it's a recommended one, right?
yeah.
So this is really just for people that have websites where they're directly uploading videos, right? Because I know most of the times I'm just going on YouTube and embedding.
That is true. Google's getting massively better with videos, though. We have tons of videos of the vault that Google has cut up and hyperlinked on its own, has like metadata that I've seen appear for snippets from our video and like who's talking from the video. So just like website metadata and I mean honestly all schema as a whole, that's all going to be depreciated eventually. Like with AI and all these advanced, the only reason that stuff exists is because Google and search engines haven't been strong enough or powerful enough to not rely on it. That's literally the only reason those things exist.
Yeah, it's a big move. I guess at the end of the day, somebody's got to make the decision to pull out of something that's been like the backbone for so long.
Well,
Um,
you have AI, and all of a sudden, you could just transcribe the video, have content, crawl that, know who's in it, know what they're talking about, connect it to other pieces of content and videos that they published. Like, you know what I mean? Like a metadata schema, that's pointless when you can have that kind of understanding of just a piece of content.
Yeah, and at this point, it's safer for them to be able to get their own description for the video than to just let you just kind of stuff things in there. I guess like
Yeah.
what are you gonna
It's
do?
like it's like the keyword metadata that you could still put on your site, but literally does nothing, and that hasn't for a long, long time. And even metadata, just regular description and titles now, I've been saying for a long time, those are slowly getting depreciated because Google's eventually going to get to the point where it will always come up, or 80 or 90% of the time, come up with a better, engaging, descriptive understanding of where they're sending the user to than you as a web developer will, especially with passage ranking, where they're jumping you to different parts of content. They're not going to show like your top level meta description. That would be very confusing. So Yeah, all that stuff's going away. Be ready for it. Don't stop doing it. I always have to say that disclaimer. Don't be like, oh, I don't do the schema or any
Yeah.
metadata because Mike said Google
Do
doesn't need it.
do it
Don't
until
stop.
yeah, do it until they stop actually using it, really. But
And if it's recommended, I would still use it like right now because Google will still obviously look at it and consider it. But so if you are very, very video intensive kind of campaign, I would still use it. If you run local campaigns where you publish like one or two videos, then I would say you could probably not worry about this
yep,
crap.
less work for us. So
Yeah.
yeah, so great stuff coming out from all these AI advancements. But okay, the next one we have the image snippet, the about this image snippet feature. So previously we had always seen, or not always, but we had started seeing the about this search result, right? Trying to show you a little bit more about that domain or that specific page that's on just right in front of you in the SERP. So now they're doing it with images. I mean, pretty natural next progression, I guess, right? To start classifying the images.
Yeah, they're trying Google's always trying to be more transparent with things so they can reduce their lawsuits.
Oh, well, and then this ties into the other one though. This other article here. So there's the new AI generated image label that's been added.
Yeah.
So now, I guess
That's why
what
we
Google.
put though, right? That's a user setting, the user label. Yeah.
Yeah, so now you can start to specify. So, although they haven't built anything out yet with this, you can start to specify now if your image is like AI generated. So, and let me pull this out, but so it's under the digital source type is the field, and that's under the IPTC section of like your EXIF data. So if anybody here is going to Photoshop or Lightroom and doing those types of optimizations, you can already start to specify if it's one of three different types of digitally sourced images. There's trained algorithmic media, which I think that would be the main one, right, to use?
The AI generated.
Because all the other ones, we have composite synthetic, which is talking about the image is a composite that includes synthetic elements. So I guess
Yeah.
not
With
entirely AI
special
generated.
effects or something. Yeah. Dinosaur in the mountains or something could be that, but it's real mountains and a, illustration of a dinosaur or something.
And then algorithmic media image was created purely by an algorithm and not based on any sampled training data.
What is, oh, that's like the pure stuff that, like, yeah, so that's pretty much what,
So
untrained AI creating an
it's
image?
essentially like if you use like a mathematical formula to start auto generating stuff
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. Okay, that's probably not too common. I think I've seen that in like crypto.
Right. I was gonna say that's probably the only spot where I've seen people make use of that. So that's what you're gonna want to put for all your crypto images.
The question is though, is Google planning on valuing real images or content more or something? Or what is the use case of this marking? Yeah, it's like your money or your life. I could see them actually putting emphasis on things like this if they detect that you're using AI, or if you're not saying you are, but their algorithm can pick that up eventually or something. I don't know. I don't think it's going to matter so much for like your local rankings and whatnot, but it's interesting that they're adding this attribute and like, you know, we'll see. I mean, we still have all those link attributes that I fortunately haven't tested. Have you seen any of those? Tested any of those ever?
I have not. No.
And I haven't even heard about them since they like came out. So yeah, we'll see. Might go nowhere. Could be
Well,
interesting.
yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see, but they're definitely getting a jump on that now. So, okay. And last but not least, with this article
Big
here,
news.
what's that?
That's the big news
Oh,
that
the big
everyone's
news.
talking
Another
about.
one from Barry Schwartz. The Google search generative experience. So the big one that everybody's talking about, the new Google search engine that's AI based. So now I don't know. I guess I have to agree with them separating it if they're trying to capture a different demographic with the separate one. But at first, I was a little bit concerned with them now just launching a separate, technically a separate search engine. But it's all coming from the same thing. I think it's really just a different interface, right?
I'm honestly not sure. I haven't read so much on like if it's a different URL or different thing, or I heard people say Google's making a different search engine or a new search
So
engine. I haven't read too much into that. I've more so been reading into what this actual search engine is supposedly going to be like and whatnot.
right. So from everything I've been reading here, and there's not an awful lot too much yet, but it really is just a different type of interface that reimagines the different ways that you actually interact with a search engine. So
It'll
the
probably be more content heavy, I would assume,
so
right?
yeah, content heavy, but then it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? And I guess the way that I was understanding it is because if you think about the demographic, and I know it's a little silly, but there's people that will go on like TikTok and do searches on there. And now maybe you don't do too many your money, your life type of searches on there, but there's definitely a lot of different, a lot of it probably started with like shopping, like people trying to find the right types of clothing. All of a sudden, well, okay, they can go on TikTok where the algorithm fits with trends, right? It's a little bit more trendy. So if you see what Google's doing over here with this new search engine, they're trying to show you, I guess, a little bit more of the different media types. So trying to pull in images and videos, maybe a little bit above the actual organic SERPs. So, and I'm trying to think how this will really play out for the your money, your life, because so far all the examples that we've seen is really just like e-commerce, where all of a sudden you can come in here and you can say, I'm looking for this type of article of clothing that maybe fits the trends with Gen Z. And all of a sudden, it's giving you all these images, all these TikToks, all these different YouTube videos that maybe serve the information a little bit better than reading a big old blog post, right? So I think, yeah, I think across the board so far, it's like the younger audiences, I think will really be captivated by this. People that need something that's more attention grabbing, maybe. But that's all I'm seeing really right now is just a little bit of a reimagining of how everything is laid out, and then obviously integrating the very top portion being the Bard AI, having a little bit of a descriptor there. So something that I can tell that this is going to be really helpful for like long tails, right? So any sort of like super specific query that maybe that just nobody's covered it yet, all of a sudden it can at least point you in some sort of a right direction using its AI, instead of just feeding you articles that are totally not relevant to your specific question. So it'd be interesting to see that. I know I have a lot of, whenever I have some sort of a weird website error, I like to use AI to help me out a little bit to troubleshoot that. So it'd be interesting to see what changes we see to different like troubleshooting types of queries that you would do on Google. But yeah, so far, just a very different UI. I'm curious to see what everybody else thinks about it. I know a lot of people are really scared of seeing potentially the SERPs get pushed down a little bit more again. I'm still not worried as to losing any sort of like real estate, because at the end of the day, if they're keeping people on the platform for longer, I got to think, if anything, it's got to be better. Maybe you just have to spread your content out a little bit and start thinking about, hey, this client of mine or all of these clients, they're not doing any videos, they're not really posting anything. Maybe now you have to kind of reimagine that a little bit so that they have a little bit of a better looking brand. Yeah. Any thoughts from you, Mike, on that one?
I mean, I've been saying for years that Google's going to constantly be switching up the SERPs, and they're always testing these new things. That's why we talk about the SERP updates on the vault. They've tested things with videos and images and showing tweets and rich snippets and snippets within the search and just at the top and ads on the side. And the honest truth is, I've been saying it forever, that we know Google wants to provide the best user experience, and Google is all about a specific user experience. If you search for images, they want to give you images. That's like the basic foundation of that concept. But like Victor was saying, if it knew that you like regularly looked at TikTok or YouTube videos or the feeds or Instagram reels, Google might even it why wouldn't it show you its search engine in that manner to you so you get the best user experience? I'm not
Oh yeah,
saying
yeah. Let's
that's
not
a
forget.
leap, but the fact is that Google wants to be able to change and update and advance the UI of their search engine on the fly based on constant feedback from users, which is why like Rank Brain and other things even came to be. So yeah, it doesn't shock me. I've been talking about it forever. I'm not worried about it from an SEO standpoint. It's gonna be awesome. Well, I don't know if it's gonna be awesome, but we're gonna see awesome stuff from AI. So I'm just excited about any advancements at this point.
Right. It's all, I guess, at the end of the day, they're advancements, and you just got to keep up with them and not be scared because at the end of the day, SEO has always been moving around. It's just maybe moving a little bit faster right now.
Well, people will get crushed. I ain't gonna lie. There's gonna be affiliate revenue loss. There's gonna be, like PPL company. There's always people that lose money. That's business. Companies go up, they go down. Industries go up, they go down. AI has been a long time coming. It might feel like to some people it happened overnight, but it didn't. But it is accelerating extremely fast. So, yeah, I mean, you're either gonna lean into it or probably get trampled over by it.
Yeah, and you made a good point there. It's like, let's not forget the fact that Google has like all of this info on you. They see what you're doing. They've got the telemetry on your phone. Like they and now put that together with AI and like just seeing how much advancement we have in them being able to understand, or them, but GPT-4, anybody working with AI, being able to understand the intent behind our actions, or what we do even leading up to a search. Yeah, it could.
Mm.
I could see a much bigger variety of SERPs from user to user than we've ever seen before. So I know a lot of times, oh, we'll pop out incognito mode, but that all of a sudden, I think we're going to start to see a lot of differences, a lot of more variation just across the board as Google can now tailor the experience way better to people. And then at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it's like, they can't just go one way, but what if they have a dynamic search engine that now goes every which way that actually helps you get the best experience? I think, it's probably what they're trying to capture, right? Be able to capture
Mm.
every demographic and not just one or the other. But yeah. And then I would say also, I feel like there's a lot of just looking at how Gen Z really interacts with the internet and content. I think is also kind of helping us understand like how the internet is moving too. Because sure, it's the young people, but just kind of following how people use the internet, how people navigate different things, I think is going to be huge just as we go through time.
Well, yeah, I mean, less than 20 years ago, we didn't have social media like we do now. So, like, people, yeah, in the past 10 years and 20 years, even the internet has changed drastically. So, again, it's not too much of a surprise to me. I don't think people should freak out too much. There will be people that probably should be concerned, but like you should lean into it and not fight it. AI is going to be massive, and you can use it to your benefit right now for sure. So, and I'm wondering if Google's even going to stay the main contender in search. To be honest, like I can see them losing a lot of market share with AI. The biggest draw they're going to have is their tool set, their toolkit with AI integrated. That's going to be their probably their biggest strength, I think.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have ever since Microsoft started entering the conversation here with AI. I think everybody's starting to look at it in that type of way, where it's like, well, let's get well versed in these different other platforms also. But overall, right, focusing on the experience of the searcher and providing the most value is overall just what's going to get you going in any type of platform over time. But and yeah, and I mean, we could even see. I feel like Microsoft is doing a great job. I mean, I was seeing some news articles just talking about how their servers keep going down just from the amount of traffic. So, I mean, if they're getting more traffic than they were expecting, that's good news for them. And ultimately, we can see Google's really kicking it into high gear from all this pressure anyway. So, the users are going to get what they want. But we actually have two more articles to go through here. So these are for SERP changes / tests. So we've got, were these both different John Mueller things? Yep, both of these are comments from John Mueller. So the first one here we've got, so no healthy percentage of traffic for Google bot activity. So John Mueller said there is no healthy percentage of traffic you should expect from Google bot activity compared to other bot and traffic activity on your site. So meaning basically you don't need to worry if Google bot is taking up 2% of your server resources and not 20% of your server resources. Now, I've never been in the position where I've worried too much about this higher level amount of usage, but I've also never really managed like 1,000+ page websites. So I'm curious to hear what you think about this one, Mike. Is this even something you should be worried about?
You should be worried if Googlebot isn't crawling your site. That's one I would say. And you should be worried that if you have a massive site, because I mean there's kind of like a crawl budget, which has been debated by a lot of SEOs for years, but I still see it to this day that if you put up a million page website, Google's not going to come crawl that website like constantly and look at all the pages and index all of them. But there are websites out there that have a million pages that they're crawled every day, constantly. You post something new and it's indexed immediately. And that comes down to the authority from age back, all the SEO stuff. Um, so I think you should consider like the crawl as maybe it's not a signal of anything. I think that's what John Mueller is saying. The fact is though, if you have say a huge website and authority and links and Googlebot isn't crawling your site, then maybe that's a problem. I don't really see that often. So it's just not a good KPI, I think, is the main point there. You know, see if your
Right, right.
pages are indexed and ranking. That's the most important.
All right, and then this next one, high quality. Okay, so a bit of a, and we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but a bit of a confusing thing for some marketers. John Mueller saying high quality content might still be of low value. So he said something can be high quality content with a lot of information for users and still be of low value for the web. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this really goes back to what we said there about the search intent and putting yourself in the perspective of what does this person actually, what's going to benefit the most, not how much information can I throw at them on one page.
Yeah, I mean, you could put a like a whole book on one page, put the whole like an encyclopedia on a page, just one long text of headings and giant glossary that sticks to the side maybe, but
And they're just going to
I don't
bounce
know.
right off of that.
It's doesn't there's no value.
Or like I'm
And
not trying to read a whole book on a page when the number two
or,
listing probably does a better job at summarizing.
I didn't come here to search. I already did the search. I came here for the answer.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, a big one in case anybody's just kind of trying to overload their pages or whatever. It's not always about just jamming it with as much as you can.
I did a test on that actually because I had a web page with a main page that was ranking okay, and then I had like five inner pages, not super long, but all very relevant, interlinking. And so I took them all and I essentially put them on one page with a glossary, and then like interlinking them on one page. So you'd still essentially get the same effect
The
if you
the
ended
little
up in
jump
any given
links, the
spot.
highlight links.
Yeah, but it was jumping throughout the page
Yeah.
instead of jumping to different pages. But no, Google didn't like that at all. That's not if you have to scroll down to the bottom of a page and it's 10,000 characters down or words down, that's not a good user experience, even with reference links and jump links and all of that. you know.
Yep. So definitely make use of competitor parity to try to lead that. Maybe not, be the end all be all, but try to really put weight into what you find that's already top ranking to try to see if, hey, maybe I am thinking about this page in the wrong, the wrong perspective. But okay. So that's pretty much it that we have on here, unless there was anything you might want to throw in there, anything from the chat maybe. Oh yeah, you were talking. I totally forgot that Ahrefs has their own search engine. Did
I
they
guess you can
ever?
call it that.
Did
Yeah, it's yep.com, I believe.
did they ever? Is there any AI on this or?
Oh no, yeah, it still says in beta. I
I don't like it. It sounds like Yelp. It reminds me of Yelp. I don't like it.
I never really looked into it. I thought it was a joke. Like not a joke as in like they were joking, as joke as in like that's got to be way outside of their lane and that's stupid.
Yeah.
I get
Well.
that they have a huge index, but having a huge index and a way to rank it, not throw out a domain authority number, but actually like rank it for relevance and use, like I don't know, I just didn't. I was like I don't see it. I don't see it. Sorry. Best of luck, but yeah.
Interesting attempt from Ahrefs
I
there.
think I've used you. Is it you.com? That's the or
Isn't that the
u.ai or something. Yeah, you.com is an AI search engine that I've been playing around with. At
Okay.
first, when I saw you.com, I thought that was Yep. And I was like, oh, is that, did they actually do something? But then I was like, nope, that's not it. But yeah,
All right.
you.com is an interesting one that I've been playing around with. So
All right. Well, thank you everybody who tuned in the chat. We love hearing your questions and seeing your interactions. So if you enjoyed this episode, we'd really appreciate if you take a moment to leave us a quick review on your favorite podcast platform. So look up the SEO Vault to locate those online. Your feedback helps us improve, so definitely send that our way whenever you get a chance. And go ahead and we already talked about that, but go ahead and share this with anybody that is working in the SEO industry who could get benefit from our weekly updates. Other than that, thank you again for joining us. We will see you again this time next week.
see you later. Bye.